it showing?
Good day, everyone, and welcome to the program, Agriculture on the Move. I'm smiling. I'll always continue to smile these days because so much is happening in the Ministry of Agriculture, a lot. I spoke to you about in the crops section, the crop farmers receiving so much. They receive fertilizer, about 34,000 bags of fertilizers for banana farmers, plantain farmers, and other crops. We have another 40,000 bags of urea to be received soon. And of course, the lime to assist the farmers with the acidity in the soil. We have given away a number of water tanks to crop farmers, and also we have another 750 water tanks for livestock farmers. We have the program for greenhouses, the rehabilitation of greenhouses, and also new greenhouses to be established. We also have the farm labor support program, which we are trying to get about 120 workers to assist farmers on their farms, paid for by the government of St. Lucia. We're also going to be doing some desilting of main drains and lateral drains in major areas. We are going to assist in irrigation in certain areas, especially in the Roseau Valley, to revitalize that irrigation system. We have had this sitting there for years. Though some of it is being used by the distillery at this point in time, but there are lots of farmers in the area who would need that working for them, and that will be resuscitated. And a lot. Of course, in the fisheries sector, a lot will be happening. But today we're dealing with the livestock section. And of course, with me is Dr. Shamin Melville Edwin, who is our Chief Veterinary Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture. Welcome, Madam, to the program.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sidney. Thank you for having me.
Doc, tell us about the livestock unit. I know it's a very important unit. It has been in the ministry for many moons, even before I was born. Farmers have benefited from a lot of the services that we offer. So tell us about your unit.
So thank you again for having me. The Veterinary and Livestock Services Division of the Ministry of Agriculture has, as you said, a very important role to play as it relates to animal health, animal welfare, and the livestock sector. We do have a regulatory role, and it relates to safeguarding the nation, protecting animal health within the nation, animal health and welfare, protecting our borders from foreign animal diseases. And by extension, by ensuring that our animals are healthy and safe, by extension, we also safeguard human health. But we also are responsible for supporting and advancing the livestock sector. The livestock sector is very important to St. Lucia. We all know how St. Lucians love our meat. We cannot, pork and chicken. Chicken is number one.
Chicken is number one, definitely.
And
every
our
day.
import bill for poultry and pork, very high.
Wow.
So one of our mandates is to see how we can reduce that import bill.
Great.
And we can do so by producing locally, increasing our stock locally and ramping up our production.
Great.
So part of what we're doing is trying to assist the farmers, helping the farmers, providing them with technical support, as well as animal health services. So your animals, your livestock, they're sick, they're in need of support. We come in and we provide you with ambulatory services.
Great.
Okay, and so this is part of what we do: data collection, what's happening in the sector, monitoring and surveillance. Also with our laboratory services, we also offer diagnostic support to our livestock farmers as
Beautiful.
well.
Great. Okay, we have a new program. The Silk program is under the UBEC project. Tell us about the livestock section under that program.
Right. So under the UBEC project, as you said, so much is happening. So we're very happy that there's a livestock component under that project. And we were delighted when we heard of the opportunity and we grabbed it to prioritize, to support some of the priority activities under our livestock program. And one of the major activities in our livestock program is breeding stock, our national breeding program. And our farmers are looking forward to getting that new stock to help improve their bloodlines. If we want to improve production, we need to improve the genetics. There are different areas that we need to improve on. One of the areas that we know we need to improve on is genetics, infusing into our bloodlines these sorts of traits that will increase meatier breeds, increased feed conversion. So you're feeding and you're feeding, but you're not seeing the animal putting on that weight that you want it. You want animals with hybrid, high vigor animals who can give you that increased feed conversion, increased production of whatever commodities that you're looking at.
Correct.
Okay, so this is what this is what our breeding program will focus on, providing the farmers with these breeds, these improved breeds. They can add it to their local stock and improve on what they already have, because we do have some good stock on island.
Yes, yes.
We do have some good stock. We have some females, sheep, goat, who do well in terms of the numbers they produce. But you want them to produce greater numbers and give you more of what you're looking for, whether it's meat, whether it's milk, whatever it is. So that is what. And under this UBEC project, we were able to source support from the US, source an exporter, have our team from the Veterinary and Livestock Services Division go up to the US, select specific animals, do their selection. So we looked at sheep and goats, we looked at swine, and we looked at a few heads of cattle. So they went up to the US, they did their selection, and a few weeks ago, these animals were received into St. Lucia. And they're presently in isolation, helping them to ensure that, again, although we're importing, we have to ensure that we keep our borders safe from foreign diseases. So there's particular protocol that had to be maintained, and even now they're in quarantine, ensuring that they're safe and healthy, and after that, then we'll be moving into our breeding program.
But you brought down quite a few, eh? I think you brought down in total 156 animals.
This is one of the I think this is one of the largest shipments we've ever done. We've imported animals before.
I remember under the IBSA project. I remember I was present at the airport, and we brought. I mean, they were nice animals. Sadly, well, you know the history.
Yes, and we have a lot of farmers who benefited from that particular
yes,
project.
Yes, and they're doing very well, I was told.
Very well, yes.
Yes.
And so we want to continue that. So again, as I said, that's one of the biggest shipments because we brought in different species.
Yes,
in one,
under the cows, you brought in 8 of them, right?
Right.
What breeds are they?
So we brought in Brangus, Angus, Senapole, and a new one, Beefmaster. This one is more
that one
American
looks
breed.
they look real good. So our burgers will look good.
so we're looking at beef cattle. We're looking at what the market is looking at, what our farmers, we had consultation with our farmers actually prior. What are the needs of the farmers? What are we looking at? How can we incorporate it? How can we assist them? Because you need the buy-in from the farmers.
Right.
It's the farmers who are going to put the work on the ground to get this thing rolling. And they have to get it done. So we consulted with them, and these are the things. Now, in addition to the live animals, we are also looking at artificial insemination. Right. Because you can imagine the cost of importing lots of cattle. There's a cost involved. And so with artificial insemination, the farmers need not have that breeding male that on farm. We can come in, we select your females, we look at the females that you have on your farm. It's not just any, you have to meet certain right criteria, of course. So there will be training up with the farmers, looking at how do you select that female? What are the traits that female should have? How do you prepare her for artificial insemination? And even after she's inseminated, what do you do to ensure that she keeps that fertilized egg? So that's also part of the program. We'll be bringing in straws for cattle semen. Right. And so in that way, we'll be able to bring more variety. Right. And again, we're looking at breeds that are suitable for our climate and temperature.
But as you under the cattle, I know you speak about beef, but what about the milk aspect? Which one of those that are more aligned with milk? So with the milk, with the dairy cattle, they're a little more intensive in terms of how much you have to give to them to get output. The production is a little more intense, and looking at is how much demand is there locally for cow's milk. We're also looking at that. Right. So again, we looked at that market. We did our little assessment and to see what the market demands. Holstein, remember we had Holstein and these breeds in the past, Jersey, and so on. You still see a little bit of the traits if you look around. Still around, yes.
But again, so we focused on beef cattle for now. As we expand and as we move forward, we will see what changes we can make. Of course, we want to take baby steps. We want to take it slowly to see how we improve.
You also brought about 50 sheep. 48 goats and 50 pigs. Okay. In terms of, I know artificial insemination years ago was only in cattle, but I'm hearing now you can do it in
all species.
All species.
All species.
Are your stock people trained?
We have persons who are trained. We have trained insemination in sheep and goat. But of course, you have to build that stock first.
Right.
You build your stock, then you will then be able to extract your semen from your own stock here in St. Lucia,
right,
instead of importing.
Great.
So again, our program needs to be something that we can sustain over the long run. Yeah. So we don't always need to import and import. Okay. We need to develop a program that we can sustain and sustain ourselves. Remember, we're looking at food security.
Food security, yes.
So as we build our stock, here in St. Lucia, then we're able to extract our semen from our males, our breeders, and inseminate our sheep, inseminate our goats. We can also inseminate in pigs as well, using fresh semen.
Great.
And also, as you're on that note of artificial insemination, part of the project also looks at the development of an artificial insemination lab.
Right, which is very, very important.
Our new Vollet agricultural station. So again, building capacity in-house, sustainability. You have your artificial insemination lab, you have your animals on farm, you do your extractions. You can use fresh semen, you can use frozen semen. So with the lab, we'll be able to collect our semen, freeze it, and save it over time. It can last for years and years. If it's stored properly, you can have that bank of frozen semen there for you to use at any time. And the farmers can request what they want.
Okay, great. Unlike Beauséjour, that with flat land, the topography of Vollet, does it lend itself to cattle grazing? I notice it's very limited. How are you going to get through this?
Good question, Sydney. So it's not just Vollet. This is the topography for most of St. Lucia, isn't it?
It's true.
And what we've realized is a lot of our cattle farmers, we've lost a lot of that land space that we had before. I mean, you may recall lands in Casaba and Pigeon Point were being used for livestock production. These are not available anymore.
State, man, remember?
These are not available
cattle
anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so our farmers have to now shift our production systems. We have to change as our landscape changes.
Right.
And so what we're pushing our farmers towards is a less extensive production, but more intensive production.
Hold that point, we'll do for our break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development continues placing heavy emphasis on the concept of food security. It's our prosperity, our future. Livestock production is a support program offered by the ministry. It guarantees 28.65% and 40% market share for poultry and swine production respectively. There is ongoing disease surveillance and treatment, improved bloodline support, laboratory support, training and technical support. You can learn more on livestock production. Contact the Chief Veterinary Officer at 468-5620 for further information.
On the move, of course, we are speaking with Dr. Edwin, who is our Chief Vet Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture. And of course, we're talking about, breeding new stock, right, to assist the farmers in the bloodline. And you heard what she said in the first half. We brought down some animals, and you'll be hearing from there, seeing some in a while. But Doc, we spoke a while ago about cattle and the grazing capacity. I know you mentioned about our terrain, but I still believe that other than grazing in the pastures, I know you have about 3 or 4 paddocks up there in Vollet, but you can also do zero grazing, right? So tell us about that moving forward.
Not entirely zero grazing, but we were talking about the systems of production for things like for ruminants specifically,
right.
Sheep, goats, cattle. So if you notice, if you go around the island, you see a lot of sheep and goat farmers with their pens, and of course we provide farmers with pen designs and so on. So intensive farming. You have the animals housed. You can choose to have them graze if you have the grazing, if you have the lands available to you, so they can graze in the day and come in the evening,
right.
And they're housed. And the housing serves many purposes. You have predial larceny issues. Predial larceny is a very big problem with our farmers. and we encourage our farmers to take precautionary measures to safeguard their investment. Dog predation is another problem,
right.
and I need to mention this on this show because our dog owners need to be responsible.
Yes.
Because I've seen the havoc that stray dogs wreak on livestock farmers' farms. I have seen an entire herd of goats decimated in one day. So dog predation is a big problem, and so farmers' housing serves that purpose to shelter and protect the animals. So it serves many purposes and useful. And you can do the same for cattle.
Right.
Farmers don't think of that. We think of when you're bef, naima la, tomorrow and tied today. But you can house the cattle as well, and there are a few farmers on island who do have those systems in place.
Okay.
Where they house and the animals are doing well. And so with these new and when you infuse those new bloodlines and you have those new that new genetic material in your herd, you can do that system. You can gain that that weight, that market weight that you're looking for in a shorter space of time as possible. You can get your animals to market quickly and turnover, and so you can get greater profitability and productivity.
When you look at the swine production, and as you said earlier, we consume a lot of pork in St. Lucia. What are the breeds that I know you brought down? How many breeds you brought down?
I think there were at least 5 breeds.
5 breeds, yeah.
We introduced 2 new breeds on island. We did the what the farmers are accustomed to, the Yorkshire, the Duroc, very good meaty breed, the Yorkshire, and the Landrace.
The Landrace, yes.
So, of course, you're looking at these 2 breeds, very prolific, large litters, and then you have your meat breeds. But we brought in 2 more meaty breeds. And again, these are things that farmers can introduce, new things, farmers can try them and see how it goes. So we brought in the Berkshire and the Hampshire.
Okay, moving forward, now they are in isolation, how soon they'll be out in their own locale, in our own environment, adaptation, and then from there, how soon will your AI program begin?
So the animals will be in quarantine for 21 days, and even longer, depending on how they're doing. And of course, remember, our pigs will remain. They house, of course, so they will remain. Sheep and goat, our sheep and goat will remain in that period. Even for longer than 21 days, we want to keep them in there. Just to ensure that we want them to acclimatize, get used to the new feeding regime that they're going to be introduced to and everything else. After that, when they reach maturity, then we're going to begin gradually moving into our breeding program. Animals will be bred, and the F1s or the young from that will be sold to the farmers for their own breeding. So we're looking at perhaps maybe by next year. The next year we'll be able to.
So farmers who are starters can come and get live animals up there at Volet.
So there's a process.
Great.
We encourage farmers to work with your extension officer.
Okay, great.
Work with your extension officer, because we will not be selling animals to any and everybody.
Right.
We need to meet certain criteria.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
We need to ensure that you have the conditions on farm. You can take care of that investment, because it is an investment.
It's an investment, yes.
And it's not a miracle. It's not a panacea, wonder. You have to put in that work. Right. So the animals have to be fed properly, and that is very important. Yes, we're infusing new bloodlines, but without the proper nutrition, you're not going to get what you're looking for.
Right.
The animal is not going to give you that output that you want.
Correct.
So nutrition is critical, and so that's why we also included in our program support for the farmers in terms of pasture, pasture conservation. How do you conserve those grasses to make hay? How do you make silage? We have some farmers locally who can tell you they put these things into practice, and in the dry season they give their animals some silage, and they have these things at their disposal. What species do you cut and use? We have lots of species. We have lots of different leguminous plants, forages that can be used that persons don't know about. We just know about lendus and zeb. We think all zeb is zeb, but there are different grasses with different nutritional content.
But Doc, as I mentioned you on that, it's very, very, very important. I know we have a feed meal here in St. Lucia. In terms of nutrition, what is required based on your knowledge, do you believe that we have that capacity to nutrition-wise for our animals in St. Lucia? Or based on all what you mentioned, I remember years and years we keep talking about our own mixture, our own local, to supplement what is being done by the feed mill. Putting that holistically, where are we going?
So, as I said, we're looking at nutrition. So especially for our ruminants. And that is why, as a ministry, we have been pushing things like goats, sheep, goats, small ruminants. With small ruminants, you can rely solely on your forages, on your grasses, on what we have indigenously, locally, to feed those animals. Right. There are things that you can do. These forages, we encourage farmers to even plant it.
Right.
Do your own planting. The same way you plant your dasheen, your cucumbers, you plant your forages, you plant your pastures, so that you can have those nutritional plants that you can feed your animals. Collect, so you harvest it like a crop. You harvest it, you shred, you mix, you add whatever supplements need to be added to give them that extra that they need, whether it be, sometimes farmers might add a little molasses, or you add whatever salts and minerals, right, to add to that, especially for ruminants, they can do well with that, all right? And you give them a nice mix, you give them a nutritious mix, and the vet division is here to assist you, develop your own formulation, and you have farmers who do that. You go to some farms, farmers have invented their own little shredders, using lawnmowers. I always tell people we need to be creative with what we have, use what we have, and they do that. And the same can be done for our cattle. And so at Volet, we also intend to do some research as well, using what we have at our disposal, developing new rations and formulations to help the farmers.
Okay. Volet Agricultural Station is a new station, okay? When will it be operational fully? I mean, I know we are then already were doing a couple of things, but in terms of getting it in top gear, when are you hoping to get Volet Station so that people can come in, the schools can come in like I did going to Boseju as a youngster during school holidays?
Well, I can say the Volet is operational, but at this point in time, we will not be accommodating visitors because, again, we have animals in quarantine. Right. But there will be a grand opening. Okay. And you will be informed. I'm sure you'll be there.
Yeah, true.
So there will be a grand opening pretty soon. But we are operational. As I said, we're building stock, we're building capacity, we're putting in new areas, like I said, artificial insemination. So I can say pretty soon. It's in the works. I don't want to give you a fixed date, but it's in the process. It's in the process.
It'll happen this year, though?
Of course.
Okay.
The launch will be this year.
One of the areas that farmers met me and they saw the new breeds that came in, their concern is Pridia laxini at Volet. How are you well organized as far as security?
That is a concern for us. So as I said, again, the same advice we give the farmers, we have to use the same advice ourselves. So pens, and there is security at Volet. Security, I don't want to give away too much, because you can't give away too much. No. But there are security.
Is in top gear. Okay. One of the things I know, I think there's still in pockets in St. Lucia, the emblematic.
Oh yes.
Okay. Where are we with this?
Oh yes.
Especially for our new breeds that we brought in.
Right, and especially during this time, yes, we brought in the animal, but this is a sensitive time for them because we also have those ticks that they are susceptible to, and so that's why they're being monitored closely. But the TBT, the emblematic, is still a problem, especially in the south of the island. We have an ongoing TBT control program, and under this project, we will be procuring quite a stock of ticicide to treat those animals. We're hoping to stockpile and to keep the ticicide available so we can continue our treatment and there would not be these interruptions. Because the ticicide is becoming quite challenging to procure. It has become quite a challenge. Sometimes it's difficult, we can't get it. So under this program, we have, and we will be receiving at least 3,000 liters of ticicide pretty soon. Okay. The bids have already gone out, the contract has already been done, so it's just a matter of receiving it anytime soon. And so the program should be running. Okay. So yes, it is a problem, and I want to advise the public listening, the problem in the south, please do not move animals from the south to the north of the island. It is a problem. Contact the vet services. We will do our our examinations, do treatment if necessary before you move them. Because we have seen pockets now, although we've been advising for years, but we see pockets of these problems that TBT is causing in the north of the island because of movement of animals from the north, from the south to the north of the island.
Capacity building. I know you all spoke about Farmer Field School. You know, how soon will that start?
So it's already being planned. It's already being planned and has already started. Has already initialized. So and again, that is important because yes, breeding stock, nutrition, but we need the farmers to again build capacity, learn new techniques, especially our new farmers. What I recognize is during COVID, a lot of persons became interested in livestock production, especially things like layer production. So you have backyard farmers, you have people with farms under their houses, in their balconies, which is not the best. So we've noticed quite a few of these persons have popped up, but they need training. And you see that they need the training because of the questions, the problems that arise, and we have to come in and give them support, explain to them, because they pop up without us knowing. And so this is an opportune time for us to do our farmer field schools, start the farmer field schools and get persons trained, build capacity, help them understand what they should not do, and also share knowledge. You have older farmers who've been in it for years who can now share with younger farmers, mentor these younger farmers. So it's also knowledge exchange, not just us teaching farmers, but knowledge exchange, because we can also learn from them as well. Yeah.
One of the things I know we didn't mention, rabbit production. Rabbit is a big thing in this country, you know. Quickly, we have half a minute to talk about that.
Unfortunately, we did not import rabbits under this program, but we do have rabbits at Volet.
I know.
Rabbits, very prolific. Rabbits, you get...
They're prolific like hell, you know.
Very prolific. So, yes. And rabbit meat is very expensive too.
It is, yes, I know.
So, the rabbits are still available and it's still part of our portfolio.
Okay,
it is.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Final words from you, ma'am?
So I want to encourage the farmers to contact the vet services. Water tanks are being distributed. We have distributed over 200 tanks already. We may not know all the livestock farmers, but reach out to us, contact us. We are there to assist you. Our number, 468-5621. Reach out to us, and we are here to give the support to the livestock farmers.
Thank you, Dr. Melville, for being here. I wish you success as we move on. I know Volet will be opened, and we will all see what's happening at Volet. So Lucia will be able to see what's going on there. And I'm looking forward for the success of that program.
Yes, indeed.
People are looking forward for that.
Yes.
You've been watching Agriculture The Move. Please, people, those farmers out there, check your extension officer. Like you heard Dr. Melville said, there's a lot to offer to you out there. Remember, agriculture is our business. Eat fresh, St. Lucia's best. Our money stays here. Thank you again. I'm Philip Sidney. Goodbye.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
What the ministries are doing, we are encouraging ministers to meet the public. Sometimes people have difficulty, they say they can't meet you, they have to place appointment. Well,